Garth Brooks at his new honky tonk in Nashville.
Hey, E.T., come on in.
Oh, yeah.
Well, thank you for the invitation, Garth. We will. Yes, that is tomorrow on E.T. Now, before we go, it has been 17 years since the last Outkast album. Now, Andre 3000 has dropped his new solo record, New Blue Sun.
Here's the thing, you're not going to hear him rapping or singing. It's 87 minutes of him playing wind instruments.
You may get someone that cries. You may get someone.
Happening now.
Texas State is set to host the state's first ever presidential debate right here in this auditorium. Coming up, what the university's president and students think about this honor.
And cooler air is on the move. It's headed our way, and you're going to feel it first thing in the morning. We'll talk about how cool it's going to get in the days ahead and how this affects your Thanksgiving in just a bit.
You know the deal. You plug your charger into your phone and it's not charging. We're going to put phone chargers to the test and find out if the pricier ones work better. The News at 5 starts right now.
The next president of the United States will likely have their first debate at Texas State University. That university given the honor of the first Texas school to host a presidential debate.
Amazing. Our Daniela Ibarra is there on campus where the word is spreading about history about to be made at Texas State. And Daniela, I imagine there's a lot of school pride involved in this, but also excitement to be a part of such an important night.
Yeah, Ursula, we've heard a lot of excitement and honestly some surprise that Texas State was picked. Now, this debate is going to be here at the Strahan Arena. And for those of you who have family members or loved ones who graduated from Texas State, this is probably where you saw them cross the stage. And next September, this is where a political stage is going to be, where that presidential debate will be hosted. Texas State's president says that they had to apply to be selected to be the site of the next presidential debate, the first one. The university is the only Texas university to graduate a U.S. president, Lyndon B. Johnson. The university's president hopes the debate will help pivot the national conversation into a civil one.
And we think having a healthy debate in a setting like the presidential debate can be a step towards more civil communications between both parties and all entities. And we want to be part of that.
Now, when this debate is all said and done, the university estimates it'll cost $5 million. They're going to ask some sponsors and alumni to help them out with that. Now, there's a lot of first-time voters who go to school here at Texas State. And coming up at 6, you'll hear from them about why they're excited about this and how it could help them decide who the next president is. We're live from Texas State. Daniela Ibarra, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Daniela. The city's first gun trade-in event saw some 900 guns turned over to San Antonio police. Today, we're told only one of those guns was identified as stolen. The voluntary buyback program hosted by District 9 City Councilman John Courage yesterday at the Alamo Dome. Donations and $100,000 from the councilman's discretionary funds helped pay for $175,000 worth of H-E-B gift cards. Gun owners received a gift card for each firearm they turned in. The serial numbers of each gun checked. An SAPD spokesperson says the check revealed one gun was stolen. She says it was inoperable, though. The spokesperson says the department won't know for certain if any of those guns that work are connected to any crimes until their analysis is completed.
The family of a man killed in a shooting now waiting to hear if the jury will punish the woman at the heart of the case. But Amanda Montoya was not found guilty of murder, but rather aggravated assault with a deadly weapon. Erica Hernandez with how Montoya's character was put into question and whether she'll face a stiff sentence for the crime.
It hasn't been the same without him.
I miss my brother.
A Bexar County jury heard how life has changed for Jerry Gallegos and Marisa Vela since their brother's 2016 death. Cesar Gallegos died of a single gunshot wound. Police arrested his girlfriend Amanda Montoya for murder, but that same jury convicted Montoya for aggravated assault with a deadly weapon instead. Witnesses for the defense told jurors Montoya was a caring and non-violent person.
She's bright, loving, caring. She taught us manners, compassion.
In the cross-examination of those defense witnesses, the state then brought up charges from Montoya's past.
Are you aware of her 3 prior convictions for driving while intoxicated?
I didn't know there was 3, just 1.
Do you still believe that Amanda is not a danger to society?
She's not.
Aggravated assault with a deadly weapon carries the same potential penalty as murder, 5 to 99 years. Jurors will decide just how long Montoya will spend in prison. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
At last check, the jury had started deliberations late this afternoon. They have not yet returned a sentence.
The San Antonio police say a breakup between a man and a woman escalated after that man was taken into custody and charged with making a terroristic threat. The man accused of telling his ex he was going to take her to see her dead parents. This man, 44-year-old Carlos Davila, taken into custody on Friday. According to an arrest affidavit, the woman told officers that Davila came to her job earlier this month, told her to get into his vehicle. Police say Davila told her that he was taking her to see her parents. The woman's parents had previously passed away. The affidavit goes on to state that Davila drove his ex-girlfriend by her house and told her to, quote, say bye to her home one last time, end quote. She was eventually able to get out of his vehicle, run away. Police say they believe Davila is showing signs of escalating behavior. He was arrested, his bond set at $50,000. Davila has a previous felony conviction for continuous family violence. According to court records, if released from jail, Davila will be on full house arrest and prohibited from possessing firearms and must avoid contact with his ex. In our series, Confronting Domestic Violence, Loving in Fear, our Courtney Friedman has compiled a list of domestic violence resources. Just scan this QR code that's on your screen.
There's a reason we at KSAT are reporting a lot of these domestic violence cases. It's because we want you to know how common it is and also how gradual it is. It's called a progressive pattern, and we want to take you through that whole pattern so you can figure out if this is happening to you. It starts with the psychological stuff, gaslighting, which makes you think it's all your fault, isolating you from family and friends, and even name calling. Then there's mental abuse, which can be emotional, verbal, financial, or involves stalking. Physical abuse is gradual too, shoving, hitting, kicking, and sexual abuse. Strangulation is on another physical level. That's why it's a felony charge. Being choked increases the chance that you'll die from abuse by 700%, and it typically happens 1 year before someone is killed. This all, of course, can lead to death, and it's happening way too often in our community, and often involving a gun. Having a gun in your house actually increases the chance that you'll die from abuse by 500%. And you don't have to check all of these boxes. Even just 1 or 2 might mean you're in an abusive relationship. But there are so many places you can call or websites you can go to that can help you find a safe way to leave, get counseling, or get legal help for things like divorces or custody. We've spent years making an entire webpage just for this. To check it out, go to ksat.com/domestic violence.
A driver getting an unexpected and scary start to his week after sheriff's deputies say that he hit a man who was lying in the middle of the road. It happened just after 4 in the morning in the 2500 block of Verney Stage Road. Deputies say the driver was on his way to work when he ran over what he initially thought was just a trash bag. We're told the driver then pulled over to check out his vehicle for possible damage. Deputies say when he looked at what he had run over, he realized it was a person, and he called 911. The driver did remain at the scene until deputies got there. The victim taken to the hospital and at last check was in critical condition. Deputies say at this time, though, no charges are expected to be filed.
We have an update on construction on the Walters Street Bridge near I-35. Good news, it's officially reopened to traffic. Drivers can now access the bridge to hit I-35 and the Fort Sam Houston gates faster without having to go out of their way. It had been closed since February by TxDOT so the crews could repave it. TxDOT says, as promised, the bridge reopened around Thanksgiving. Now, as far as the construction on North New Braunfels, a city spokesman says some of the asphalt work needs to be redone there. The new deadline for completion, if the weather cooperates, the end of this month. If not, drivers may have to get used to the color orange a little while longer. We're just days away from the 44th annual Raul Jimenez Thanksgiving dinner. The call went out for volunteers to help out. And boy, a lot of you responded. More than 550 turkeys now being prepared by volunteers, chefs, members of the Jimenez Thanksgiving Dinner Committee. Turkey dinner along with all the fixins and trimmings for 25,000 people being prepared right now. The San Antonio tradition, free and open to the public. The Raul Jimenez Thanksgiving dinner Thursday at the Henry B. Gonzalez Convention Center on East Market. Doors open at 9 a.m. The dinner, entertainment, and dancing starts at 10:30. Via, offering free bus rides to the convention center for the event. And if you need more information, head to RaulJimenezDinner.com.
Foster children living at Roy Moss Youth Alternatives in Bertie getting what many of them say is their first Thanksgiving feast, and it was a feast. The owner of Ruth's Chris Steakhouse opening the restaurant, hosting the annual Thanksgiving dinner for the 18th year, and I'm very honored to have helped host with her for all 18 of those years. Hundreds of pounds of turkey, potatoes, desserts, all rolled out by the chef, and the children were treated to stories of overcoming adversity. It's a subject that is very personal for Lana Duke, who chose the theme, Onward and Upward.
Oh, I do it because I was a foster child and I had a lot of rough experiences, and now I'm just so lucky and gifted, and it's a way of giving back.
And she does, her personal story resonating with those children, some of whom will be spending their first holiday season without mom and dad. Roy Moss Youth Alternatives runs a number of homes for children and also new adults with the goal of healing, counseling, and nurturing them toward a bigger future. Dangerous storms rolling through the Gulf Coast and the South, threatening damaging winds, hail, and possible tornadoes, too.
Yeah, one of the multiple storm systems that are on track to potentially throw a monkey wrench into a busy holiday travel week. Laura Aguirre shows us what's on the horizon for travelers when it comes to delays, even cancellations.
Travelers should be checking with their airline directly for the most up-to-date information about their flights.
Solid advice whenever you're flying, but even more important this week. Severe weather across large parts of the U.S. threatened to snarl holiday travel plans. Powerful rainstorms over areas of the central U.S. are rolling toward the Midwest. And thunderstorms over parts of the Gulf and southern regions could bring tornadoes, damaging winds, and large hail throughout Monday night. To navigate the impact on air travelers, the National Weather Service is positioning meteorologists at 22 FAA centers.
They provide down-to-the-minute weather predictions for exact arrival and departure routes in the busiest parts of the U.S. airspace.
The Department of Transportation says it's been working closely with airlines to ease the cost of trip delays on travelers.
Now, almost all of them guarantee hotels and ground transportation, and all of them guarantee covering meals. If your flight gets canceled or significantly delayed for any reason, I want the traveling public to know that you are entitled to a full cash refund if you choose to take that refund rather than a rebooking.
And that's good news, given forecasters predict by Tuesday, rain and snow could be hampering air and highway travel across large parts of the Midwest, New England, and East Coast, from D.C. to Atlanta.
We will be using every tool at our disposal to keep cancellations and delays as low as possible.
I'm Laura Aguirre reporting.
All right, I was just expressing my frustration with that map. It didn't give me a day-by-day. So that's why I turned to you, Adam Cassidy.
And I've got it for you.
All right.
So here's the big picture right now. You see all the active weather in terms of precipitation up and down the midsection of the country. Severe weather is Louisiana, now moving into Mississippi, and that's through this evening. Now, this is a big wound-up system, obviously covering a lot of real estate. However, here you go, Steve. Notice by Tuesday, that precipitation by noon Tuesday is from the Great Lakes down into the Mid-Atlantic, Carolinas, and then the tail end down near Atlanta. Atlanta, of course, being a hub, Chicago being a hub as well. That's going to be moving past and through those hubs through Tuesday. By Wednesday morning, most of it is out over the Atlantic with the exception of some parts of New England. So luckily, during the busiest travel day Wednesday, that active pattern is pretty much going to be out of here. Let's talk temperatures. 80 Eagle Pass, 75 right now in Leon Springs, Floresville and Santa Maria at 82. Bulverde 79 and Mico currently at 75. Turning windy this evening. We'll talk about how windy it's going to be, how long that's going to last, and noticeably cooler. We'll talk about how low the temperature will drop in just a bit.
Thank you, Adam. Coming up next,
Actually, we do traffic
Let's
before
do that
Let's
first.
do I-10 in Frio. You can see the eastbound lanes of I-10 as you head towards downtown, very slow going on both the upper and lower decks. Not a big surprise here. This is very normal, but this is also a frustrating section of I-10.
especially if you have a phone charger that isn't working and your phone is dying, and that does happen. You may need a new charger. We're going to show you how to pick one that will last. Here's a look at what we're working on for the News at 6. After being homeless and using alcohol and drugs for 20 years, a Marine veteran is proving you can break the cycle. His success landing him a local photography exhibit, and he's using the platform to remind struggling veterans they are not alone. This story and more today on the News at 6.
It's aggravating. How often does this happen to you? You'll unplug your phone from the charger only to find it didn't charge because the cable was broken. How do you know which ones will last, and how much would you pay for one?
Right. 12 on your side's Marilyn Moritz has some test results to see how the cheaper ones compare to the pricier ones.
Charging cables can take a beating. So how do budget cords from Amazon, Five Below, and Walmart stack up against cords from Apple and Samsung? Consumer Reports bought 7, ranging from $4.88 to $29.
We found the best of the bunch could last more than 6 years, while the worst may not even make it 6 months.
They estimate we all bend and twist our cords 5 times a day. So using that number, they then calculated how many bends and twists a cord would have to endure to last a year and a half.
They did that using this motorized rig to repeatedly bend one end into a 90-degree angle until it stopped working. Then the rig twisted each cord more than 2,500 times.
All the cords passed the twist test, but only 2 passed the bend test.
The cords that did the worst, the Bitech USB-C cord from Five Below died before 710 bends. And the Lightning cords from Amazon Basics and Walmart's On brand died before 796 bends. Walmart's On USB-C cord did better, hanging on twice as long. The ones that did the best were Apple's Lightning cord for iPhones 5 through 14 and Amazon Basics USB-C cord for the iPhone 15, Android's laptops and tablets. Both survived more than 11,000 bends, meaning they could last you more than 6 years.
The bottom line here, you can't always rely on brand or price or something like thickness when choosing a charging cord.
That's because Apple's $29 cord and Amazon Basics' $6 cord did the best. Marilyn Moritz, KSAT 12 News.
Now there's information you needed to know.
There you go.
Look at that.
Yeah, beautiful sunset out there. Yep. Look at those clouds, Adam.
They're perfect. We've got the cirrus clouds streaming in from the southwest, a streak of cirrus, which will give us a beautiful sunset. So have your phones, cameras ready to go, and then submit your beautiful shots on KSAT Connect through the Weather Authority app. Let's talk about our forecast, because changes are happening just as we speak and over the coming hours. Turning windy, that's a key here. North winds at 20 to 25 miles per hour. That's going to be the case just a few hours from now. Gusts are going to be even higher. Notice the temperatures falling off. Sure, we made it into the 80s today. By 10 o'clock, we're near 60, and then we drop down into the 50s thereafter. Tomorrow morning, windy with a bit of a chill in the air. We're talking upper 40s in the hill country. Bandera, Los Maples, Kerrville, 48 degrees. Near 50 around San Antonio. North side of town, 50 degrees. South side, Stinson area, about 52. Seguin, 53. So feeling a bit of a chill in the air tomorrow morning compared to what we had. And by the afternoon, we make it to 63 for the high temperature. That's about as warm as it's going to get. So from 80s today to 60s tomorrow, we're talking about a 20-degree temperature drop over 24 hours there when you're comparing afternoons. Actually, some upper 50s in the hill country tomorrow. 58 Comfort, Bernie, Bulverde, 58 degrees. Meanwhile, Floresville and Pleasanton at 64. Notice our high temperature trend, low to mid 60s all the way through the weekend. And actually, we get to Sunday and Monday of next week, and we're talking upper 50s for high temperatures. So another drop with a Sunday cold front. But cooler, more seasonable the rest of this week. Now, the wind has shifted out of the north already, northwest. It's going to be more northerly in the coming hours. And notice our wind gust forecast. We're talking gusts between 35 and 40 miles per hour later on tonight, through the overnight hours, and even the morning commute tomorrow. By noon tomorrow, those wind gusts are still noticeable, but they start to pump the brakes a little bit. Now let's talk about the overall pattern. We've got that big wound up system we talked about earlier. That's moving away from us. However, on the tail end of it, we'll have an extra little swirl develop over Mexico, which will affect us into Thanksgiving with just a little extra clouds and the off chance of a few light showers. We're talking a 20% chance of a stray shower on your Thanksgiving day. Thanksgiving, low 40s in the morning, only 60 in the afternoon. And then we'll talk more about the extended forecast with that next front and rain chances coming up at 6 o'clock.
Going to need to hold on to our hats tonight. Thank you.
All right, Spurs back in action. The Clippers are in town, Mary.
And it's an opportunity to turn things around because the young team has reached a new low in its learning process, but the group will not be discouraged. And it's another victory Monday for the Cowboys, but there's no time to enjoy with their Thanksgiving game right around the corner.
Football coverage brought to you by Davis Law Firm.
It's a short week for America's team. The Dallas Cowboys won their Week 11 matchup against the one-win Panthers and now must turn around for a Thanksgiving primetime game with the Commanders. Dak Prescott said yesterday it's basically like having your Monday turned into a Thursday as far as preparations go. It's also a quick turnaround for Washington, who suffered a 31-19 defeat to the Giants. Winning right now is a must if the Cowboys want to catch up to the NFC East first place Eagles.
We've got to win. Simple as that. You know, a lot of antics and things going on outside of the game, but we've got to understand that it's about winning. And when we do, everybody can enjoy our holidays much better, especially us. Then allows us to go into the week, a normal week, having planned again on the next Thursday at home.
The San Antonio Spurs are trying to find an answer as to why they are surrendering lead after lead to opposing teams. It's the main reason the Spurs find themselves winless in their last 8 games. Tonight, the Clippers are in town for the first of 2 back-to-back matchups, and it seems like Los Angeles is starting to find its winning formula after a shaky start when James Harden first joined the team. The last time the two clubs met was for a late October tilt that saw the Clippers defeat San Antonio by a 40-point margin. And coming into the day, the Spurs rank last in the NBA in points allowed, another area the team looks to overcome.
Well, we know it's going to be a process with this group, you know, being the youngest team in the NBA. We're doing a lot of film work, trying to correct our mistakes and shoot around. I mean, they're still going to keep it positive with us going into each game because you got to try and flush what happened the night before. And, you know, that's the good thing about the NBA is you have an opportunity the next day pretty much. So we got to try and keep our spirits positive as we're going through this tough patch.
All right, tip-off is at 7 p.m. from Frost Bank Center. The Spurs are desperately trying to find their way back into the win column, and no Devin Vassell for a third straight game. We'll be right back.
All right, looking at our 7-day forecast, cooler this week. We'll have some morning temperatures near 40 and I think even upper 30s by Wednesday morning. So feeling that chill, but the afternoons generally in the 60s, just right near 60 on Thanksgiving Day with that off chance of a stray sprinkle or two the first half of the day. Then we get into the weekend, clouds return, some more fog and drizzle, and even a few showers by Sunday.
Thank you, Adam, and thank you for watching the news at 5.
World News up next. We'll see you back here at 6.